about so much more than just a trigger pull.
So for those of you that have watched the show before, you know just how much we love hunting in Nebraska. And for those of you that don't, where have you been for the last 6 years? When it comes to hunting Nebraska, we've done everything from whitetails to mule deer to turkeys, even antelope, but we haven't done this, an archery velvet mule deer hunt until now. And when you want to hunt big velvet mule deer, where do you go? You go to Old Acre Outfitters. Now, if you don't believe me, just take a look at his basement. It is filled with giant mule deer. So while we're primarily going to be hunting mule deer, Mel also has a bunch of whitetails running around that we're going to try to get onto. Mel tells us that the plan is if we can't find a muley to make a move on for the morning, that we'll head to his alfalfa field to hunt whitetails in the evening. But I tell you what, I am excited to get after these mule deer because Mel has me going after one mule deer in particular, a giant they call Dumbo. Now don't let the name fool you. This is an old, mature muley that they have been after for a couple years now that always seems to evade hunters. The only problem is, a week before we got there, Dumbo's already evaded me too and has completely disappeared. So while I start my week going on a quest for Dumbo, Dad will be with Mel going after some great muleys he has on another property. Well guys, it's day one here in Nebraska and we're dealing with a little bit of wind this morning. Probably 25-mile-an-hour gusts. But we're up on a big ridge right now. There's sort of glass and it's starting to get light out. Hopefully we'll start to see some deer. Lots of things we're going to see. Deer, elk, all kinds of stuff. So it should be an interesting morning. But I'm thinking these deer are definitely going to bed down pretty early with this wind. But it's a little bit windy this morning. So, day one out here in Nebraska and the wind is just howling. We expected it to have these mule deer tucked in and bedded down for the most part. Plus, with wind like this, trying to put on a stalk would have been pretty difficult. So our game plan for the first morning is just to sit back, glass, and see if we can at least locate or put eyes on Dumbo. And even though we had high winds, to our surprise, these muleys are out and about moving in all different cuts and draws. We saw a lot of great mule deer, but Dumbo was nowhere to be seen. But even if we wanted to stalk in on one of these other mule deer, the wind was just blowing a little too hard for us to attempt to put on a stalk. So like I said, we're just gonna sit back and enjoy the show.
And while Austin is just looking at the muleys, I'm on another piece of property with Mel with the intention of doing the same thing. But little did we know that when we got in here in the morning, we got ourselves in between two bachelor groups. And in the one group was a beautiful 5x5 muley that we want to see if we can make a move on. The only problem is that the wind is swirling and trying to find an angle to move in on him is going to be tough.
Wind's trying to screw us, guys. We are gonna have to go and get hooked around them quick. We better cruise.
I couldn't see everything from where I was sitting. I stood up a little bit and I spotted a pretty nice buck out here with some small ones. So the wind's not right. We gotta get try to get in front of this deer. So we're gonna stay low down across this flat behind Mel.
He's heading back left.
So we work our way into about 100 yards closer on this buck to try and get in position to cut him off, but he decides that he's going to go back the way he came. And when we went to try and move around to cut him off that way, he turned around again. It seemed like we'd take one step forward, then 2 steps back with this buck. It quickly became apparent that we weren't going to get in close to this buck this morning, so we decided it would just be best for us to back out and come back in the afternoon. These bucks just went back into that drainage, but now the wind's not good at all. We're probably going to sneak out of here. It's been a great first morning already. We've located several shooters here, so it gives us something to look forward to for this afternoon and the rest of the week. So it's best we get out of here before our wind busts them out of here.
He's spewing blood, man. He's spewing. I'm talking about. I ain't tagged out in Pennsylvania.
He's laying right over here. Thank you.
back up on the same mountain this morning, sort of watching these big draws again for mule deer. And we spotted one of the bucks that we saw yesterday down in this bottom with another deer. And we're dealing with wind again, so I'm guessing these deer are still going to be tucked in these crevices, and we're just going to have to really glass hard to find them. Found one early right off the bat. Hopefully they're moving like that.
Our plan for the second morning is the same as the first. Austin and I went to the same spots we were in yesterday to glass for mule deer. Unfortunately, there was no sign of Dumbo anywhere for Austin, and no sign of the buck that I saw yesterday either. When we were on our way out though, we went to check one last spot we thought our shooter might be hanging out in. And we spotted a buck off in the distance that looked a lot like the buck we saw yesterday. So we decided we wanted to try and get a closer look at him. Well, we were just getting ready to pull out, and we noticed a couple muleys on top of this ridge up here. Just saw a frame on him. Looks like a deer we need to get a better look at, so we're going to try to go in there, play the wind in our favor, get a look at him from this side. If we like him, we're going to try to stalk down this fence line. He's just over the other side of this. Not going to be easy. There's no cover at all up here, but the wind's in our favor, so let's go.
I just seen him and now I can't see him. Let's wait right here. There's his rack right there. I think we need to tail him, man. Oh my goodness, that's a freaking nice mule deer. I don't know. He looks a lot like the one yesterday. We'll get to the base of that hill and peek over, and hopefully we'll watch him go bed.
Okay.
But anyway, there's an old dam over there, and that's the only shade unless they go clear down to this creek bottom. But if we can get him down in the ravine over on the other side, get him bedded, then we can try to make a play on him in that draw. Now he's running. I don't know why he's doing that. Going left to right. Going back where they were. Heading out back to that draw. Maybe we better just take high ground and go over on the other side and watch them come into it.
We've been trying to keep up with these bucks. We had them on top of this hill. They sort of got nervous. It looks like the flies are really bothering their velvet. And they covered, I don't know, 1,000 yards across these ridges. And got over there. We thought we were going to catch them on the backside. They turned around and come back and bedded in the exact same spot they were in 20 minutes ago. And we're caught on top of the hill now, so we're gonna have to roll or crawl out of here and see if we can't side hill them. Come right up on them, Mel, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting on. So we've been playing cat and mouse with this muley for 2 hours now, trying to get into bow range of him. And just like the buck yesterday, this guy couldn't make up his mind on what direction he wants to go. But he finally settled down and found a spot to bed. So we were finally able to catch up with him as we worked our way into bow range. Here we are within 50 yards of this mule deer that we've been working in on all day. Mel sees his rack just over the brush, but I can't see him from my angle. So we shift over to our right just a couple yards, and I look up through the grass, and there he is.
He's 47 yards.
Oh, right here. Is that him? Top one? Yeah, I see him.
That's the back of his rack right there.
We can just see the tips of his antlers through the grass, but we can't get any closer because if he sees us, he's going to get up and bolt. So all we can do now is wait him out and hope that he stands up and stands still long enough for me to be able to get a shot on him.
Be ready. Be ready, be ready. Wait just a second. Oh, look at the blood. It's heart shock. This one. That one or that one? Front one. Dude, you are Johnny. Look at the blood roll out.
Here, oh my gosh, what a stalk. Oh, we come up on this deer twice. This thing moved over. We punched him. You hear it? Yes. I was back because he was really cornering. And when I saw him turn, I went to the top of the weeds. I just sent it right through it. Oh,
I think Rush will make sure he don't come out the bottom.
I think let's just, we won't go until they slow down. Get it. I think. This is the draw right here. Where's this one?
He come down off that road and then he went right in the draw, and if you see about halfway up the draw, you can see the top of his rack.
It's not moving. Great draw, Bill. Let's go. Oh, look at the kicker on him there, huh? Look at that. Oh, man. Check him out. What an amazing couple days here in Nebraska with Old Ecker Outfitters. I mean, I just can't believe it. What an awesome stalk. We belly crawled, I don't know how far. Cactus in my hand, cactus in my knee. And now we're sitting here with this deer. You know, at 50 years old, I've been hunting for 38 years, bow hunting for 32 years. And to finally put my hands on an archery mule deer feels pretty darn amazing. And also, it's my first velvet deer of any species. This is absolutely an awesome ending to an amazing hunt. What a day. I wish Austin was here, but man, we're gonna get back there soon enough, share this deer with him, and find out about his morning. There's nobody home. I don't know where they are. They sure look comfy.
What's up, Kill?
Gotta get some sleep. Hit one. We're gonna find out. He's in the truck. They're excited for me.